Hey, I'm Serenity, and this is my channel. We are joined by a lot of the dogs. Capella has ruined the pillows, but as long as she's comfy. Nova and Ginger. And today we're going to be talking about my life with Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. So I started this channel 6 years ago, maybe even longer than that actually, where I wanted to discuss growing up with chronic illness. Now, I did write down notes. I have multiple chronic illnesses, multiple blood disorders, Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, a heart condition, a bunch of different issues. But I wanted to talk about it and what it was like growing up. I'm in a weird situation where I was diagnosed with all my medical conditions really young. I know most people, they don't get diagnosed till they're like in their 20s. So I wanted to start this channel as a way to like build a community and show people you're not alone, because when you get sick and you're looking for a diagnosis, it's really hard to understand what's happening with your body and how you become isolated so quickly, because it's hard for people to understand. So this video is going to be discussing Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, which I was diagnosed with at 15. I'm now 23. So I have a couple years of learning what it's like to live with the condition, but I will say I'm not ready. I need to go work through it, some trauma with it more through therapy. The story I'm going to tell you is interwoven with getting diagnosed with blood disorders and every other condition I mentioned. It all happened at the same time between when I was 10, 11, all the way till I was about 17. So that's a couple years of everything happens at the same time, and the story is interwoven. And the main story that runs through it is getting diagnosed with multiple blood disorders, namely hemophilia, von Willebrand's disease, thrombocytopenia, low platelets, anemia, going through treatments for that. But that is like my main medical issue, and it's something I need to really work through, discussing it and writing it down, because that is where a lot of trauma comes from, basically, because the main doctor I would see like every single month was my hematologist. But this story is about Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. It's something I think we're hearing a lot more on the news, and it's the one that I'm most comfortable talking about right now. The blood disorder will be coming soon, and by soon I mean within this year. That video is going to be like a 10-page script. I have so many photos documented. I wanted to talk about Ehlers-Danlos first. So I do have an outline. I will be looking through it. It's not an exact script. It's just like key points. So get cozy, put on a sweater, grab a snack, grab a blanket, grab a drink. This Alani flavor, I shouldn't be drinking it every day, but I do. It tastes just like a good cherry cola. To start, I first got sick when I was around 10, 11. Once I got to middle school, that's where I started missing a lot of school, getting really sick really quickly, and we were trying to figure out what happened. So there are 2 doctors in my life, technically 3, but we're going to be talking about 2. I adore them. I love them. I owe them everything. They really advocated for me, and they really were my side. I don't want to get choked up. I'm getting choked up, but I know for a lot of people that's not the case. I was really lucky that my pediatrician, as soon as he started noticing that I was sick, I would get really heavy periods. I would bruise very easily. I was constantly out of school, not feeling well. As soon as he noticed that, because I would go there to get like a doctor's note and see what's happening, see if I contracted like a cold or the flu or anything, he sent me to my local children's hospital, to a hematologist, oncologist. If you don't know what a hematologist, oncologist is, it is one, cancer usually is what they deal with, and hematologist is blood conditions. So when I met this hematologist, he went over my whole family history, my whole life. At this point, I was about 11, and he thought I had leukemia. I wouldn't know if I had leukemia because the test he wanted to do to figure it out was a month test, and basically it was every Tuesday at 5 p.m. on the dot, I had to get multiple blood vials drawn. It was about 8 blood vials, and I had to do that for 4 weeks straight. In that month, I was coming to terms with that I probably had leukemia, I probably had cancer, and that is something no child should ever have to go through. It was really hard, and it got me very comfortable with the idea of death very, very young. At the same time this was happening, this was in about like September of when I was 11. My birthday's in October, and in October, I had broken my fingers, these 2 fingers, in gym class and in middle school, and then come January, I had actually broken this wrist playing volleyball. I had just fallen and just landed like this, and I broke my wrist. So he was very concerned on that. Luckily, we found out that I didn't have leukemia. I was first diagnosed with thrombocytopenia and von Willebrand's disease, and then low platelets. And that's a whole other video, but just understand that is what was happening first. So I was working through all of that. I see my hematologist every month. I need to get blood drawn every month to check platelets and levels and make sure I'm doing well, figuring out medications, treatments, iron transfusions. So all that was happening. And I kept injuring myself and breaking bones. And there are some tests that he had already diagnosed me with, just modern tests like hypermobility, right? Double jointedness is basically basically it. But my condition kept getting worse and he thought something else was happening. So a couple years passed, a week of my 15th birthday, I was diagnosed with hemophilia. And for those years until I got to high school, we were kind of just managing things. So I'd gotten sicker and there was more diagnoses needing to be had. So within the span of the week of my 15th birthday in October, I had been diagnosed with hemophilia. That same week, I cut off the pad of my thumb completely. And that's how we confirmed that I actually had hemophilia because of the blood splatter from that injury. Within the next month, my eye was leaking. I have a whole video on this. I had eye surgery in December of that month. And then come January, I was actually put on homebound, which basically means that I would attend school. But because I was missing so much and I was really sick, my teacher would come to my house 4 hours a week and we'd do school that way. So that semester, that's what happened. So then came March and my doctor was trying to figure out what was really going on. There was obviously more diagnosis, and he had up into that point for about 4 years that I had some sort of connective tissue disorder. So in my hometown in Texas, we actually didn't have a pediatric rheumatologist. So I had to be sent to San Antonio to see a children rheumatologist to confirm his suspicions. And basically, he had run some tests on me, and the results, in his opinion, even though it wasn't his specialty, pointed to a connective tissue disorder, and he needed a firm diagnosis to that and to arthritis from pain I was feeling. It was April of 2018. I had to take my state exams early, actually, because in Texas, we have a STAR exam, basically, and it's to see how you do throughout the year. I had to take them early in my house with my teacher watching. And then we went to San Antonio for about a couple days. I want to say it was Thursday through Sunday or Monday at that time. We drove to San Antonio from my hometown and got an appointment at their children's hospital. Now, this appointment absolutely sucked because there is only one child rheumatologist in San Antonio at that time in the children's hospital. And it had to be the children's hospital because it was the network of them. So that appointment, I'm not kidding, we were in there for maybe 2 hours, and I was used to my hematology appointments being 7-8 hours to see the doctor. And when you saw the doctor, you were sitting there talking to him for 90 minutes. The doctor examined me for maybe 10 minutes. They got blood work prior. And he said because I wasn't native to San Antonio, he couldn't really help me, but he did confirm based on my hematologist's test that what he thought was correct, and through his own examinations using hypermobility tests, I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome and arthritis, but mostly we were looking for that EDS diagnosis. So I have a what is EDS pulled up. Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome are a group of 13 heritable connective tissue disorders. The conditions are caused by genetic changes that affect connective tissue. Each type of EDS has its own set of features with distinct diagnostic criteria. Some features are seen across all types of EDS, including joint hypermobility, skin hypertensionality, and tissue. So there are 13 different types, and the two that are the most common are classical Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome and then hypermobility Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. It can get a lot worse depending on the kind you have. Cardiovascular is the most deadly. And basically what that means is I don't have enough collagen in my body, which means it affects my skin, my joints, my healing processing times, and my blood vessels. It also affects my body's proportions, so I have longer arms than normal. My wingspan is about 60 inches for a person that is 5'6", and how it was described to me at the time was basically it's like being Elastigirl. So I have hypermobility and classical Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. I need to be tested again for cardiovascular, and basically from that I have discoloration to my skin. So my skin is pretty translucent. It's pretty thin. You should not be able to pick up your skin like this. And that's usually a sign of dehydration, but I am not dehydrated. I drink a lot of water. It's easy that once I break a bone, I can for the rest of my life continue to pop it out. So I broke this thumb when I was really young, and I can just pop it out and it doesn't hurt at all. I can bend parts of my body backwards. My elbow can come all the way to the front. I can pop out my shoulder, my elbow, my knee. Any injury that I've had prior, I can redislocate it and it doesn't hurt that much. Or sometimes it does hurt depending on if something just pops out at random. Sometimes my fingers will just pop out of place and there's nothing I can do about it. It hurts for a moment and then they'll pop themselves back into place. I dislocate bones all the time. It's normal. My knee once in a while will dislocate and it could just be I'm walking this way to you, and then quickly I turn around to go that way and my knee just pops out place. One of the key signs that my doctor looked at is that, our arms hyperextend, if you can see that. So that is the normal way my bone can pop out, up, further hyperextending. When I'm standing straight, my knees will lock and I'm going pushing backwards basically. One of the key, because your collagen is loose and your skin is elastic, is My eyes are brown, but I have a dark blue ring around my eyes. That is from the condition because the skin is so thin. And then my veins are very prominent. I bruise and I scar very easily. I bruise easily from blood conditions, but also from this. So I have, because I get blood work every month, I have little scars from all the needles because of that. When I get IVs for my eye surgery that I have to get, which by the way, I have to get an eye surgery about once a year. Basically, it puts a tube in my eye because my tears don't leak properly. I have tiny little scars on my hands from it. Also, an interesting fact is that my ears were pierced as a baby, in Latin households. They pierced my ears when I was an infant. I've never been able to wear earrings because my skin is super sensitive. We tried everything: platinum, 24 karat gold, white gold, everything. My ear would react. I can still put an earring in. These never closed at all. Like, they never will close my ears. So I can put an earring in fully, both of them. One of the main issues is my healing time from any injury is super extended and it will scar. So for reference, from something very minor that we all do, this is a scar from getting a pizza out of the oven from 4 months ago, and I burned myself. I have a scar right here from when I was making brownies for the Super Bowl in 2017. There's still a scar here. I was bit by a dog when I was 11, and there's still a scar, and it's still very prominent, like it hasn't faded. There is a scar on my hand from a dog scratch, something very simple. I have a scar on my thigh from a simple dog scratch. My skin, it scars very easily. Simple injuries that you think wouldn't happen, like a dog scratch, they will scar for life, or they'll scar for a couple years. I have a 2nd-degree burn on my right foot. Whole other story. It was a dumb injury. That scar is going to take about 10 more years before it's like super faded. And the scars will never be pretty. So I've had ankle surgery on both ankles. I have a video on my left one where I had a tremolar fracture on both sides of my ankle are cut. On the outer side, that scar is ugly. It's jagged. That's how it healed. But also because it takes my body a long time to heal, sometimes injuries that should take 6 to 8 weeks to heal take 8 to 12 to 15 to 16 weeks. So in my tremolar fracture video, I spoke about how I didn't get surgery for the injury. It happened on July 5th. I didn't get surgery till August 1st. In that time when my bone should have started to try to heal itself, it didn't heal at all. It was barely trying, like maybe 3% when it should have already been at like 30% trying to heal. So with blood conditions, and there are a bunch of connective diagnoses that happened. So the same year that I was diagnosed with EDS, I was also diagnosed with gastroparesis, which is something you guys are getting if you're taking Ozempic. This is what happens to your body. It's basically paralyzing your stomach, so you don't eat as much and then you lose weight. Gastroparesis, if you develop it into actual gastroparesis, a diagnosis, please don't ever do that. Like, I can't drink white Gatorade from the amount of times they've had to scope out my stomach that I've had to drink like Miralax in order for my stomach to be clean. But because of Ehlers-Danlos, I have gastroparesis. They're connective, like intertwining disorders. And basically from that, I had surgery. I want to say, I know when I had surgery, I had to get my stomach rearranged because things were out of order and like food wouldn't be moved where it was. So like I would eat protein, the protein wouldn't sit where it needs to. Or if I would eat fats, the fats wouldn't go where it needs to. So I wasn't getting the proper nutrition. At this time, in 2018, I went from not being more than 110 pounds to being 180 pounds within a year after the stomach surgery because I wasn't getting nutrition, which is just a side tangent, but that's also part of early because it's a connective tissue disorder. So I'm not digesting things properly. My body doesn't know where things need to go. Same thing with my eye. When your nose leaks, it's usually just tears running through your nose. My eye doesn't know how to do that, so it just tears out of my eye. That's why there's a tube placed in there to redirect. It's a surgery that should have been like a one and done fix, but I kept having to have it and I have to have it forever because my eye doesn't put 2 and 2 together basically. So I had that stomach surgery in April or May. It was whenever the first Avengers Infinity Wars came out. And I know it was that day because I had not eaten for like 3 days. I had to be on a fast for this surgery. And when I woke up, the first thing I asked was, can I go to the movie that night? Because we had tickets. But I had to have stomach surgery because I have gastroparesis, which puts me on a special diet due to earliness and due to this disorder that I also have from having EDS, if that makes sense. And with that, I have a very special diet. I don't want to say I follow it perfectly because I absolutely do not. But I'm a vegetarian. I have been for 10 years. One, I became a vegetarian as recommendation from my hematologist because of my stomach issues that I can't digest certain things properly, and also because I like animals a lot and I thought I was going to be a veterinarian for the longest time. So I follow the Stanford low food mock diet. And basically, it's certain things that I do not eat, certain things I have to eat at higher rates. And it's just to help with digestion, especially because of Ehlers-Danlos. I don't want to have my gastroparesis be reactivated because it's not fun at all. You know how they say hot girls have like tummy issues or headaches? I don't want to have both because I've had both at the same time before. And basically, I'm on that diet to help my stomach digest things better. So I do have a normal life expectancy unless I get diagnosed for cardiovascular. About 1 in every 5,000 people have Ehlers-Danlos hypermobility one. Now, 1 in 5 sounds like a lot. In perspective, that's about 1.8 million people out of 9 billion people on the planet. It's a large amount, but it's not a lot actually when you put it in perspective. So it's more common, but it's not like having anxiety and asthma, which pretty much everyone has. I have it. So it's a rarer condition, but it is being diagnosed more often than not. How did I get Ehlers-Danlos? It was passed down. It's inherited. You can't just develop it. So it was inherited. As I've gone on throughout the years, we've probably discovered it was passed down through my mother's side because hypermobility has always been present on that side. And my grandmother and my mom probably have some form of it, just not as severe as me, if that makes sense. They are double jointed, quote unquote, have had injuries, but they don't get as injured as I am and have harsher injuries, right? Because I've broken a lot of bones in my life, and it's mainly due to EDS because of how easy it is for me to break my bones because they're fragile. But it is a normal life expectancy. Like I said, there are just precautions I have to take, like what I eat, how I exercise, certain forms. I can't push my body too much because it will become sore very quickly, and pair that with my blood disorders. You know, it's not great. It's manageable. Some symptoms I deal with is chronic fatigue. I get tired very easily. Like I said, I'm easy to injure. Luckily, it's been about 2 years since I've had a major injury, but like I said, I'm going to continue to have that eye surgery for probably ever. It's something I'm used to now. I spoke about my tremollar fracture, which was so severe because of my EDS. So with that, I know I'm already developing some arthritis in my ankle of where that surgery happened. Some other symptoms I want to discuss is I have TMJ. TMJ is basically a jaw issue. I notice when I exercise, because I cycle, because of the constant like up and down jumping, that it will irritate my jaw. And it's basically when I open my jaw, it can really hurt. I can pop it very easily. There's really nothing you can do. People put Botox in their jaw to help it because the pain can be pretty unbearable, but that's it. And I will never do that. Let's go over some other symptoms I experience are, like I spoke about, my eyes, the blue ring around my eyes. This is one that I wish I could get rid of. Okay. I have the facts on it pulled up. Like I'm telling you, we have stretchy skin. We also have a stretchy bladder. And you're like, that's a lot of information. No. Because your bladder tells you when it is full of liquid and you need to go urinate. Our bladders will tell our brain that they are full when they are not, causing us to need to go pee all the time. It's a condition called interstitial cystitis. It has a couple other symptoms that go with, such as bladder inconsistencies, basically that I think I have to pee all the time. Sometimes bladder pain if you're sitting too long, putting pressure on it, and sometimes even pelvic pain, especially when you're on your menstrual cycle. It just hurts way past cramps. It just like feels heavy. And why do I wish this was a symptom I can get rid of? Because I constantly think I have to pee. And the thing is, it doesn't happen when I drink carbonated, like sugary drinks. So if I'm drinking soda, my brain won't tell myself I have to pee quicker, but I drink a lot of water. And water, I'm not kidding, passes through. Absolutely. Anything that's like a natural water, hot tea, anything like that, it will pass through me. Sometimes I have to get up like 3-4 times to use the restroom in the middle of the night. The other night I had to get up to go use the restroom late in the evening, and it felt like I was holding the ocean. What came out was 3 drops, but it felt like it. And it happens all the time. Recently I was at the movies waiting to watch said movie, and I felt like I had to go. Like I would like pee my pants. So I run to the restroom, 4 drops. And here's like, I keep a Stanley with me on all time. Let me show you a visual representation. That's it. That's how much water. So that is a symptom I would love to stop having. And I notice it when I'm healthy. When I'm drinking the green juice, the water, those constantly tell me I have to use the restroom. We have this other thing is actually really scary, especially when you're experiencing it in public. If you've ever had a panic attack. So part of the condition is we have fake heart attacks. It's a condition called costochondritis. And basically it's the inflammation of the rib cartilage. And it feels like an elephant is stepping on your chest. I had it a lot when I was getting diagnosed with anxiety around this time of when I was first diagnosed. It feels like an elephant is sitting on your chest. It feels like a fake heart attack. Your ears start ringing. You get really warm. your heart starts beating really fast and it's like a fake heart attack, basically. I don't get them as often. You kind of have to like regulate your emotions. One of the biggest things that I was told throughout all of this is that I need to be able to regulate my emotions in the sense of I can't be stressed very much, or that will push my symptoms more. Like, there's nothing I can do about the peeing thing because like I have full control of my bladder. It just always feels like I need to go. So that is one of the scariest symptoms. I haven't had it in a couple of years since I've been managing stress levels and stuff. I have a very high palate in my mouth, which usually freaks out dentists. So my palate in my mouth is higher than normal. It goes about right here, the top of my mouth. Some people get freaked out by it, but it is a high palate. It's just the bones in my body. Same thing from Ehlers-Danlos, that sort of situation. With that, I also have like a kind of protruding chest from it, from the bones, just slightly. Right here. Now, more and more celebrities are being diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos. I know Jamil, and Halsey have come out and spoken about it and how they manage their symptoms. One of the common misconceptions is that the person will be very tall and lanky. Am I tall? I'm 5'6", so I'm average. I'm working on losing that weight I gained in quick succession. I am lanky in the sense that I am mostly leg and arm. My legs make up most of my body, and my arms are super long, and my fingers like thin and lanky. But that doesn't mean people with Ehlers-Danlos don't come in all different shapes and sizes, especially when you couple it with like other conditions like blood disorders where you have to manage things. Certain conditions cause you to gain weight, certain conditions cause you to lose weight. Now with it, there is absolutely no cure. Again, it's an inherited disorder. It's something you live with. There is no fix. There is no surgery. There's nothing you can do. It's not like a heart condition where you can go in and do heart surgery. It's not like a brain condition where you can go and fix whatever is wrong. It is a connective tissue disorder. I can manage symptoms. Like I can make sure I don't put myself in situations where I could accidentally break a bone, like playing rugby, that sort of situation. If I'm going to ride a bike, I'm going to be wearing helmet, knee pads, elbow pads, right? I'm going to be using precautions. Basically, it's the only thing you can do. There is no medication that you can take that's going to fix everything. Again, there's too much to fix, right? And it's inherited. I can take medication for pain if there is anything. It's unlike my blood disorders where I actually need to get blood tests, make sure my levels are normal. If something's really wrong, take a iron infusion. I have medication for those. With my blood disorders, I know how to give myself an IV. I know what my platelets look like. I have reports. That sort of situation of that is an active thing that I have to manage with medication, with treatments, with doctors. Everything with Ehlers-Danlos, you live with it. You go around the world a little differently, right? Again, not playing high dangerous sports. If something pops out of place, I have braces for that sort of situation. If my knee dislocates, I have a brace. I have like Botevics to put on it. That sort of situation. There is nothing I can do to eradicate it, basically. Like, it's not like anemia where you take iron. Like I said, I need to get tested for cardiovascular Ehlers-Danlos. I wouldn't be surprised if I have it, but if I do, that life expectancy is only 40, and that does not sound fun. But that is linked to my heart condition that I have, which will probably be in another video. But basically, that is life with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. The logo is a zebra. Basically, there is a term in medicine where it's like, if you hear hooves on the floor, it's most likely a horse, but sometimes it's a zebra, which basically means like if someone has low iron in their blood, they probably have anemia. But sometimes it's actually hemophilia or von Willebrand's disease, right? So that is why it is represented by the zebra. It's not something to get depressed about. Like, I have it. I know how to manage it. I know how to be careful. I know what to do. And that's all I can do. I think it's always fascinating to see people in the news. And even though it's kind of depressing, like, oh my God, you have a chronic condition like me, to be like, oh, that's what someone else looks like with it, right? I've met very, very, very few people in my life who have it. I met a boy who has it and his symptoms are completely different than mine. One of the symptoms that I forgot to mention is I like to walk on the side of my feet. The positions I sit in that are very comfortable for me are really weird. I'm sitting crisscross applesauce right now, but I will sit with like my left leg still crisscross and then my right up, my knee up like this. So my left is crisscrossed and then my right is up like this. Something else is I sleep, again, it's really weird. Okay, I will sleep with my hands like this or like this where I'm holding myself in my hands. One of the worst ones. This is very comfortable to me. I will sleep with my hand like this tucked underneath. Sometimes just like doing this feels comfortable. When your bones pop out very easily, you get very comfortable in weird positions. And because your body's hypermobile. It all has to do with it. But let me know down below if you or someone you know also has EDS, or if you learned something about the condition down below. Like I said, there's nothing to feel sorry for me about. There's nothing, no sympathy. I just hope you learned something. And especially because it seems to be getting more common and more common. When I was first diagnosed, no one in the media talked about it. No one at all knew about it. No one knew about the symptoms, especially because everyone can have such different symptoms. But let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. All my social media is linked down below. Follow me if you want. As always, the doggo picture of the day, because she's been with us, it's going to be this picture of Nova. She just left. Love you, mean it, kisses, don't think stupid, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why